I'm also in.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, all right. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and there might be I know Nyla plans to be here. Jonathan does not, Bill does not. So I guess we're just waiting on Nyla. So hopefully she'll come shortly. Okay, I'm at 6:06. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Um Bill and Jonathan have an excused absence and hopefully Nyla's on her way. I want to make a couple additions to the agenda, which are, with everyone's okay, is a little while ago, I sent you out some fact sheets about zero waste legislation and coming up in the state legislature. I'm going to add that to the agenda to just talk about it for a minute or two. Also want to add, if we have time, I wanted to see if Kenny Battle could give us a little bit of a status report on where does the current Prince George's Climate Action Plan stand. There are some zero waste initiatives in that plan, and I'm just not sure where things stand. It would be good to know that at the end of the year and to know where things might be going. And then just talk about briefly the new member, just to give an update on that. So with that, we'll start with the agenda number one. I don't know if Dave or Barbara want to give a little bit of an update on the mattress recycling tour that we did. That was so much fun.
Well, since you organized it, I think you should give the report on it.
Oh, well, so
It was wonderful. Totally heartening.
Yeah, say a little more.
Yeah. So the fellow who runs this place, I guess, started this idea as a term paper in college or something,
Yep.
has been doing it for the last, I don't know, 20 or 30 years,
Right.
is super committed. They have most of the area counties, except for Prince George's, involved in it, and would love to get Prince George's also. And totally impressive how they start out with these piles of mattresses where only a limited number of mattresses take up an incredible room, and then they deconstruct them, saving what is possible to repurpose into these yellow tagged mattresses, which apparently are, and beds, which are known as repurposed stuff. I guess mainly the box springs is what they repurpose. And then baling the rest in little, as squished up as possible, and recycling what's possible. So very impressive, very dedicated employees.
Call from SWAC. Call from SWAC.
Yeah, so thanks, Barbara. So yes, I think we were all quite impressed. It was a number of members of the SWAC and some folks from the Sierra Club, which attended, and Kevin Daly, who's the owner, was, as Barbara mentioned, was very enthusiastic and very, very interested in working with the county. I did want to ask Kevin, what currently is the county doing with its mattresses when they get to the landfill? Are they being put in the landfill, or is there any recycling happening?
It's put in the landfill, Nancy, for now. Yes.
Okay, so I'm not, well, I wonder why we couldn't, I mean, I don't know what the process would be to make this happen, but I mean, I wonder if the county could just save the mattresses and Kevin's company could just pick them up. Not sure why we
I
couldn't.
think during
Yeah,
go
go ahead.
ahead,
No, go
Nancy.
ahead.
I think when we had the tour at the facility in Baltimore, Marlin was there, and so there was initial discussion on how mattresses delivered to the landfill could be recovered.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Mr. Daly said that, he's interested in identifying an area in Prince George's County to have the used mattresses recovered and processed. But so I think the discussion is in progress. I don't have the latest update now, but that was the initial discussion.
When
Having
was
the
that?
Na- Nancy, correct me
last
if I'm wrong, but in the presentation, didn't he specifically state that they would provide a container or containers at facilities in Prince George's County, assuming they entered into the contract, and they could just be added on to the existing contract? The county could be added on to an existing contract, and it wouldn't have to go through the whole 9 yards of getting a contract. But he talked about, having a container of some sort, and the mattresses would be put in
Right.
those containers, and then the containers would be picked up. Is that correct?
Yeah, and that's what I was wondering, was I wanted to verify
Well, it doesn't sound like the burden on the county would be extensive, or the cost to the county would be that expensive. And I don't know what they, would charge to have us in the program, but it does sound like a worthy endeavor for the county to investigate.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So Kevin, what's the date of this time you're talking about?
So we had a tour around I think October,
October?
September. If I recall it correctly, we went there in September.
Uh-huh.
With I went there with Marlin and Jessica, more of our recycling section. Yes.
So has anything happened since then?
I'm not aware of. I think Mr. Daly sent an email to Marlin, but I will have to check with Marlin again.
Because we like to encourage that the county really look into this. They made quite a point of how the mattresses are really bad at holding methane, and so being a real methane problem. And
Right.
that if you get too many mattresses near to the edge of the landfill, then the landfill mound collapses. And it sounds like there are a lot of, and of course the mattresses take an enormous volume. So there are a lot of negatives of keeping the mattresses in the landfill, both environmental and economic.
Kevin, do you have
Correct,
any
yes.
statistics? Kevin, do you have any statistics on the volume of mattresses coming into the landfill?
So we have, because we submitted our comment for the legislation on the establishment of the mattress stewardship program, and we have some numbers there. We indicated that it's having an impact on our airspace, and also downtime for our equipment. So we have the numbers.
When were
Yes.
those numbers submitted, and can we get those?
Yes, we can share.
Yeah, can we get a copy of the letter that was sent?
Sure, yes.
Okay.
We submitted our comment last February, during the legislative session of the state. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and that's going to be put back in. I understand. So also,
how do we get the ball rolling again to have discussions?
I think the first step is to find out what the status of the conversation is with Turbo Hall. Do you know if Marilyn's going to be on this call, Kevin?
She won't, Nancy, but I will follow up with Marlin. And we'll
Okay.
provide you an update. Yes.
Okay, so we'll get an update on where things stand about the mattress, possibly a mattress recycling program at Brown Station Road.
Or elsewhere?
Or elsewhere. Well, the thing is, it seems like that's where they would drop them,
Yeah, maybe.
probably. Wherever they,
Please share the burden.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it should go there. I'm just saying it seems like it likely would go there, but it could be, maybe they could have spots around the county to drop them. That actually might be better. Or, maybe there could be some arrangement for Kevin to pick some of this stuff up. But I think we need a more detailed update from resource recovery. So, okay. And then I think, we can make a recommendation to we need to see where they're at, but we could make a recommendation to DOE to support, do at least pulling these materials out of the waste stream. Yes? Okay, the other thing I wanted to mention about the tour was the owner, Kevin Daly, is interested in locating a site in Prince George's County to open up a larger mattress recycling facility. So he's looking for property and looking for assistance in opening a site. The good thing about the mattress recycling, it's a light industrial activity where the activity itself really doesn't have a lot of liabilities in terms of off-putting pollution or anything from the activity itself. Now, of course, there are trucks coming and going, and that particulate matter is an issue, but it's not like they're generating like a concrete, plant or something like that. They're not generating stuff from the plant itself, which makes it a more attractive kind of industrial activity. So I've actually sent a note over to some people I know in EDC to see if I can just help connect that owner to EDC and see if they can help him figure out something. I think it'd be really great to have it somewhere in the county. So that's where that stands.
Nancy, could I
Yeah.
add one thing?
Sure.
Yeah, I attended the COG Recycling Committee meeting a week or so ago, and they were looking for ideas or suggestions as to what that committee could be taking on next year in 2024.
Mhm.
And I'm not in the committee, but anybody could speak at that meeting. And I threw out the idea that they should be looking possibly into mattress recycling, and I mentioned the Turbo Hall. And I did connect one of the COG folks with Kevin of Turbo Hall. And I think, I don't know what's come of that, but I think they were going to have a conversation. Because he's interested not only in Prince George's County, but he thinks that people from Northern Virginia and certainly the district could bring in mattresses to his facility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually emailed Kevin to ask him for an update on that, but I haven't heard back from him, Dave, to see if he'd talked to John. Is that who it is at MCOG?
Yes.
Yeah, but I haven't heard back from him. So we'll see. I'm sure I will though. So yeah, and I think his interest is locating in Prince George's County, but serving, providing mattress recycling for the metro area. So, which would produce jobs and some other positive benefits. Okay, thanks for that. Okay, so I was gonna have, so Marilyn's not here, Kevin. Usually she gives us a bunch of updates, and I think people have had questions over the last couple meetings. Can you give us a resource recovery update?
Okay. So on the pipeline project, David, so the county is in the process of preparing its response, and it will be formally transmitted to the SWAC. The draft has been prepared, but it will be the county executive office who will transmit the letter to SWAC. So in terms of timeline, it will be soon. It will be sent soon to you, Nancy, and you will have it. You will have the response of the county regarding the pipeline project.
Okay.
For the 10-year. Okay, so for the 10-year plan, you received a response from Miss Sakinda, right, Nancy? You got the email from Miss Sakinda Skinner, indicating that we intend to submit the plan to the county council early January, and have it deliberated and discussed and open for public comments.
Do you have a date for that, Kevin?
So we just submitted the legislative package that come with the draft 10-year plan to the county executive office this week, and the county executive office plans to submit it to the county council come early January.
And do you know when the public comment period will open? And how long that will be?
It will be the council who will decide on the time frame for the public comments, Nancy.
Okay,
But I think it's around, if I'm not mistaken, it's 10 days, I think, for the public comments.
And since this would probably come under your committee, do you have any idea when it might be scheduled?
Well, it's kind of formulaic, and it drives based on when the exec transmits it. The clerk has a lot to do with the scheduling. Yeah. And so we are just getting the new committee chairs have just been assigned, and fortunately we have the same committee chair for TIEE is still Eric Olson. And so once the plan is transmitted, clerk tells us, when the schedule they put together the first part of the schedule, and then that determines when we do
Based
committee
on time allotment, probably. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. How often the committees meet and what the public notice requirements are for public hearings and such. So once we get it, the first thing we do is put the schedule together, and I will make sure I share it with the group.
Yeah, can you do that as soon as possible once it's known, rather than waiting to a meeting, because it may fall between meeting times?
Oh no, I'll send it out by email once we know what it is.
Thank you.
I'll just let you guys know. Yep.
Dave?
Just wanted to ask Kenneth a question about that. So we're going to see it when the public sees it. Is that the time frame?
That question for me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Well, yes, I would assume as soon as we get it, I'll make sure that the SWAC can see it. If there's an opportunity for us to see it prior to transmittal, to the council formally, I'll try to assist with that. But yes, once it's transmitted and it's a public document, then I'll make sure that the group can that we can get it.
Kenneth, what I'm thinking here, I'm looking at the name of our commission, and it's called advisory. And I would think that as an advisory capacity, we should be reviewing this before it goes to the public, because there may be some things we might suggest. And so I think we should be getting it sooner. That's what I think of this situation.
Dave, you're breaking up.
I hear him pretty well.
Yeah. Chuck, I was just saying that since we're advisory, I think we should be able to see that document before it goes public.
So I think your point, though, is Dave, is probably one that needs to be considered by the exec's office, because once it's transmitted to us, it is a public document, and we have to make it.
We had this problem.
Yeah.
Last year, where they didn't give it to us until it was transmitted, and they wouldn't give it to us until it was transmitted.
Okay. So again, I don't, if there's a way, and maybe the Kevin and the crew from DOE can go back and discuss how maybe parts of it might be able to be shared, or whatever the case may be. But based on legally, once the exec transmits anything to the council, we have to make it available to the public. So I'll try to make sure that the commission can get it as soon as possible. But you may be talking, a matter of a couple of days or so before it gets on a council agenda for presentation, which would be the first opportunity to share with the public. So,
Kenneth,
So-
Kenneth, I hate to belabor this, but DOE is the agency that's probably put this together, and we are supposed to be working with DOE, vice versa. There's supposed to be a back and forth, and I think that as they were developing this document, it seems like there should have been some type of dialogue between SWAC and DOE.
But I mean, I understand what you're saying. I'm probably the wrong person to be responding to your concerns because, again, we're the legislative branch of government, so we don't get it until they transmit to the executive branch transmits. So again, if there's an opportunity for any of the information that goes into the plan to be shared with the SWAC while it's under the development, that's a question to be answered by the executive branch and the agency and that kind of thing. So, I mean, my response to you is just based on what the law is and what the process is. So, I don't have anything to share with you prior to the executive branch transmitting.
So Kenny,
Yeah.
another question that's come up around this issue is the possibility of getting, not sure what form you get it in, but I do know that there was some conversation back and forth about getting a kind of red line version or a summary version. I mean, we're interested only in the stuff that, of course, pertains to the SWAC. And not everything necessarily, not sure if everything does or not, but we had talked about getting a version so that we could see what the difference is between what was recommended, in the prior the prior 3 years or the 3 years before that, and the new version, because that's what we need to be able to understand to get to effectively give meaningful feedback.
I see. Well, I mean, and again, Kevin may be able to respond as well. As far as I know, we get the version that is transmitted and shared with the public. And at some point we get to get a summary that the agency provides prior to our discussions of the plan at the committee level. But, timing wise, we can try to figure out if there's a way to share things, but I'm not aware that we get a red line version before they transmit.
I know there's I saw in some of the back and forth that there is some version that outlines what the changes are. Otherwise, there's no meaningful way to understand what the difference is from each cycle to each cycle. So I know there is something. It wouldn't make sense. So, and that's, I think, that what we would like to see.
Okay.
So if you could note that, and that would be helpful. Okay, Kevin, I have other items on my list for you guys, but go ahead.
So,
Kevin?
to continue, so regarding your request to participate in the waste sort, we have transmitted a request on December 8th to the county's risk manager, and we are awaiting for the response. So yes, we have worked on it, and we're just waiting for the response of the agency regarding your potential participation in the waste sort at the organic compost facility.
Have other volunteer groups participated in these activities in the past?
I'm not aware of any volunteer group, Nancy, which participated in the waste sort. I think if your participation happens, it would be the first time, I think, as far as I know.
Yeah, that wasn't quite the impression I had when we were at the facility, so I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Mhm.
Do we know what a timeline looks like for getting an answer on that? It's been,
So the Marlene sent an email to management on December 8th,
mhm,
and I think she will make a follow-up again um, to check whether your group would be able to join the waste sort. But I'll remind Marlene about it.
okay. Dave, do you have any, I know you're the person who was sort of spearheading this.
I guess I would just like to know how soon we might hear. When we were out there, Nancy and I last time, Steve Birchfield said that they were getting ready to do a waste sort, and we were hoping that we might be able to be part of that. So I'm hoping that it'll happen before, so we can actually get out there and be part of the waste sort, because I know they don't do it that often.
I think it's quarterly. Okay. Kevin, sorry, keep going.
I think that's all I have, Nancy. 10-year plan, pipeline project. Oh, so the joint research with the UMD, the last email that I got from Professor Dickerson was the document still with NIST.
Mhm.
And so it's really taking time for NIST to affix their signature. So it's not moving that fast. It's with NIST, but you know, the ball is in their court to have that agreement signed and then transmitted back to the county for
Mhm.
for execution.
Okay. Okay,
But
so,
we make Nancy, we make a regular communication with Professor Dickerson, reminding them about the document, that agreement.
okay. Do you know how, Kevin, do you know how long that study's supposed to take? Once he starts?
2 to 3 years, I think.
Oh, okay, that long, okay. All right. Okay, if you don't mind, I guess, in general, the resource recovery department updates, I'd like to have a general sort of update of the department, not just of the issues, that we're dealing with at SWAC. So, if you could give us an update on some of the projects, like what's happening with the bag bill rollout, which is now, about 10 days away. And not sure where that stands with, what the county's doing on that. Maybe you could give us an update on that.
So our recycling section is in the process of preparing the outreach materials, um, using social media and using the county's official social media. We're working with supermarkets, businesses, to inform them about the impending implementation of the bill come January 1st. So yeah, we're in the process of doing the
Kevin,
outreach for
let me make a comment
this
about
program.
particularly the grocery stores. We're only a couple of weeks away from implementation, and I would have thought there should have been some kind of notice posted in the stores by this time,
Yeah,
advising customers, hey guys, effective January 1, bring your own bags or you're gonna, there's gonna be an issue. And I don't see any of that kind of outreach or publicity, and I don't see it on any PR announcements. It just seems like we're going to do this come January 1, come hell or high water. And I think it's going to hit the public because I don't think there's enough information going out. particularly by heavy users of plastic bags. I've talked to a couple of the carry out people down at the farmers market. They know nothing about it. And they all use plastic bags. That's in Upper Marlboro.
Penny?
The grocery store has nothing. I've been to Giant, I've been to Wegmans. They have nothing posted. So it just seems to me like if we're going to do this and have it effective January 1, if you're just now getting your outreach material together, I think we're late on the program.
Kevin, is there some kind of plan? Has there been, I feel like we've been asking for this, but is there a planning document? Is there a plan that's been put together about how this is being rolled out? As per Chuck's, comments that he hasn't seen, these large retailers also don't seem to have materials available for customers.
Yes, so the recycling section, our recycling section is in charge of the outreach part of the legislation. Certainly we can provide you with a plan, but we've been working on the outreach for months. Hopefully by January 1st, we'll have the necessary mechanism in place for the compliance of our businesses as far as the Better Bag Bill is concerned. But I can ask our recycling manager to provide specifics on this outreach bill come next SWAC meeting.
Okay, if they could send that sooner rather than later, that would be great. And who's the recycling manager that you're referring to?
Miss Jessica Moore.
Oh, yeah, okay, right. Jessica Moore, okay. So Nyla just noted that she's seen something at Aldi. I don't know if you want to say something about that, Nyla.
Sure. So just in Aldi, I mean, they have a few different bags, the thicker plastic bags and also paper bags. They don't have as many of the durable, reusable bags, but they have all type of shoppers, and so many either use the box or their hands or the reusable bags. I use a reusable bags one. And there are other retailers that have the reusable bags already. If stores aren't aware, I mean, I saw a post about the change that the county is making with regard to the bag bill, and that, reusable bags as of January, and I shared it and commented with it. And I had to fight in the comments to this one guy who was like, is this what the county needs? I'm like, yes, the county has spoken. This is what we're doing. And sending the bill. So, I mean, there's some people who are aware of it, but if not, then it's news is circulating. It's just about implementing the changes, like for them to get on board with it instead of resisting it. And
I think Aldi's is a little different than most grocery stores, because Aldi's never gave you a free bag. You always had to pay for a bag there. And they encouraged you to use the boxes and other means to carry your groceries out of the store. So they're kind of unique compared to Giant, Safeway, and Wegmans and those stores that have consistently used paper or plastic. Yeah, Aldi's always charged for bags from the day they opened.
Yeah.
So they're different.
So Nyla, so Aldi's has alerted their customers. Trader Joe's, when I went to the one in College Park months ago when this first passed, they had signs up. And I guess the store just keeps an eye on things, and he knew what was going on, and also because of the work in College Park. But I have to say, I've been into some regular retail grocery stores, and I haven't seen anything in those stores. So, so Kevin, I'll look forward to getting that plan, and also seeing if, I don't know if there's any way that we can help, but we sure would like to see this be a success.
Okay.
Okay.
Nancy, as long as you're on that subject, plastic straws. I happened to be in a very nice restaurant over the weekend, and guess what I was served? A plastic straw. And I asked them, were they aware the county outlawed those a year? And they said, we didn't know anything about it. So I don't know what the enforcement's doing with plastic straws, but it appears to me that that probably needs to be reemphasized.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kevin, do you want to comment on whatever efforts are being made to address the plastic straw issue?
Our recycling inspectors continue with notifying businesses to have the plastic straw ban implemented. And
Kevin, is it only based on complaint?
no,
The inspectors
part
do
of the
make stop visits?
as part of the mandate, it's part of the regular task, Charles, to enforce and notify businesses for the compliance of the plastic straw ban. So it's part of the regular task when they visit businesses. But the thing is, we have a limited number of recycling inspectors, so it really takes time to reach out and remind businesses to comply with the law.
Do you know how many inspectors there are, and do they inspect for other things as well?
Currently we have around 6 or 7. So they do the inspection, the enforcement along with the other mandates or tasks that they have, not just the plastic straw ban. And come January 1st, they will also assist in the enforcement of the plastic bag, the Better Bag Bill.
I presume there was some kind of outreach plan, especially to get to businesses about the straw. You know, I don't know if the county has an up-to-date, I presume, like all the businesses are supposed to be registered. I'm sure they're not all, but I presume there was some kind of plan for that also. From the maybe from the recycling department.
Yes. They have a timetable for the enforcement and inspection of businesses. Yes, there's a plan in place for that.
Okay. Okay, any more question on the plastic bags or straw issue for Kevin? No, see, hey, Kevin, can you, I've had some back and forth with Adriana, acting department head, about the climate protection pollution reduction grants. I don't know if you know anything about that. She shared with me that the department had submitted a project idea for dealing with facility issues related to methane management. And I had responded that was wondering if the department or county had considered something, and I wasn't sure what that really meant, if that had to do with the pipeline issue or it was something else. She did say she wanted to have a phone conversation, but that hasn't happened yet. So I don't know. So just so the SWAC knows, there are the EPA has put out a very, very significant grant program that mostly deals with greenhouse gas emissions. The smallest grant will be 2 million. The largest grant will be $500 million. It's sort of incredible amount of money for greenhouse gas emissions, which could encompass items like dealing with composting and resource reduction and all kinds of things, energy issues, transportation issues, quite a wide array of issues that deal with greenhouse gas. I've signed in on a couple webinars to learn more about the grant program, in part for some of the other things I do. And So I was curious if the county had considered or was thinking about or would consider some other possible grant opportunities, because it's just an enormous, really opportunity to improve some of our already well-functioning operations. So I don't
Nancy,
know.
from what you know about the grant program, would reconstruction of the pipeline qualify under the grant program
To
help fund it?
I don't know, because it's a repair. It funds things where there's,
It's actually a replacement. I don't think it is going to be a repair. I think they're actually replacing the entire line. Am I wrong, Kevin?
It's a replacement, Charles.
okay, so yeah, I mean, it seems likely to me that that could be funded.
Kevin, can you check on that?
Yes, yes.
Because, you know,
That may-
money
it
isn't
sh-
always an issue, and that may be part of what's holding this up. And if money's an issue and there's grant money out there, at least make an effort to get some of it.
Well, if it's possible that that's already happened, when I had a back and forth, she said the language she used was kind of generic. So I said, can you please, clarify for me? Are you talking about, the pipeline issue at Brown Station Road? And she had drafted a response, but then decided it made more sense for us to talk on the phone. That was Monday morning, and they've been busy, I guess, and I haven't heard back to set up a time yet. So it's possible, Chuck, that that's what that's what the county has requested. And that's great. But what EPA is looking for are large collaborative projects. And so what I was thinking about, for example, could be a program related to sort of expanding and improving the whole compost process. And there's so much funding, and as it is, Montgomery County is struggling how to figure out what to do with their compost. So it could be a regional response, of which some of that could really highly benefit Prince George's County by expanding, the technological work we have with how we're doing the composting, improve trucking, and work on waste reduction from the front end. So it's a huge opportunity. I don't know where we stand with that. So I was inquiring. So Chuck, so it may be that is what they have asked the money for, which would be great. And B, or wanted to see if there were other things that they would be willing to look at. They're still looking for ideas. And then there's a climate action, there's a plan that goes in at the beginning of March, and the large implementation grants are due, I think, April 1st. So Kenny, you might know about this with your being on the climate coalition.
Wait a minute. Well, I want to make sure it's clear. I'm not on the climate action, and I think what they call it, the implementation task force. I have a colleague of mine was assigned to that, Mr. Alex Hurdle. So I will definitely follow up with him to try to get an update on some of that. I'm aware of some of the activity that's gone on with the implementation task force that started meeting in September. And I know they have an advisory group also that's meeting twice a month. They're supposed to anyway. And so, and I know that the general timeline for implementation, and I might be jumping the gun a little bit on this, but next April or so, they're supposed to be submitting a draft feasibility study. And I believe that the plan is for the task force to do a presentation in January or so. So that's one of the things that we're going to hit the ground with, at the and I think it might be at the committee level. It might be committee of the whole, though, since there's been a lot of attention to this and a lot of resources put toward it. So, and I do know they have some consultants too that are assisting with putting all this stuff together. So,
okay, that's great. Thank you. Can you keep us apprised of when that might be occurring? So if there's a public aspect, we can participate.
No, I would expect to meet with my committee chair. it's probably going to be after next week. But to start putting together our schedule for 2024,
Okay.
and some of these things are top of the list. So.
Okay, great. All right, that's great. All right, well, thank you. So anyway,
Mhm.
that's where the information about, I don't know if you know anything further, Kevin, about those grants.
So DOE is, you're right, Nancy. DOE is in the process of brainstorming on what specific proposal to submit to EPA.
Mhm.
The pipeline is being considered as one, but there are many areas that the department is considering. I think the deadline is around April. And so yes, DOE will or DOE plans to submit a proposal, a grant proposal on this for this specific grant window from EPA. So yes, in the process of identifying the specifics for the proposal.
Yeah, my understanding is that the MCOG deadline for stuff is the end of the month or the 29th. And then there's they have a survey out for projects, which at this point seems like any stakeholder can submit ideas to them. If anybody's interested in that, let me know. I can find it and forward it to you. But that's January 12th. And then simultaneously, they're working on the climate action plan, which they have to submit. Each area has to submit. And there's two different ones for us. One is the state level, and the other one is this metropolitan statistical area, this MSA version that Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments, NWCOG, is providing. So I know it's a lot of gobbledygook with all this, but
Yes.
But
and I do know, Nancy, that that COG is working with our group, and that the
Excellent.
consultants and that collaboration of groups, one of their focuses is on pursuing grant funds. So in addition to the one we're talking about now, they have a
And there's
across the
others.
board, focus on identifying grant resources that can assist in achieving the goals in the cap.
Yeah,
itself.
thanks, Kenny. That's right. And what's exciting right now is that there is a lot of funding that's been coming down the pike the last couple of years, and I think that's going to continue. So I do think it's a really great opportunity for the county to think about how we can, given we're in a good place, but money's always tight for us, and it would be great to have an infusion to really be able to expand some of our programs the way I think that we'd like to. So anyway, thank you. That's helpful. Okay, let's see. I think, Kevin, I think that Marilyn had mentioned at the last meeting a postcard about the, maybe it was I'm not sure if it was the bag bill or the compost program. And she was going to send that, but I don't think that ever happened. Does that ring a bell?
I
have a question mark
check.
next to it because I couldn't remember which it was.
Let me check, Nancy.
Okay.
I'll check, Nancy, and I'll
Okay.
update
So,
you.
and I guess the last item is anything about how the rollout and things that are happening with the compost program. I don't know. I think the goal was to get the other 70,000 toters out. I don't know if that's happened or where they stand with that. And I know that there was a number of commissioners who had questions about the outreach part of this.
The toters were delivered to my neighborhood this week.
Okay.
And they were delivered to individual homes, not just dropped in the middle of the street. They were put at individual properties.
Okay, that's good to hear. Kevin?
So yeah, it's in progress, Nancy, the distribution. But I heard that the distribution will go beyond December.
Okay.
I think January, to complete the 180,000 households that are covered by the program.
Mhm.
but we're close to achieving the target.
Okay, good. And what about the outreach element? Do you know what's happening with that?
There was an explanation package with the bin on the small container that they want you to keep in your house. But there was a package that came with it that had some explanations about why and what you could put in it and what you shouldn't put in it.
The FAQs, Charles.
Can we get a copy of that?
Do I have a copy of it?
Yeah, no, I was gonna asking Kevin, can we just get a copy of that packet?
Sure. Okay.
Is there a plan for other kinds of outreach? I do know that the participation rates, just observing in my own neighborhood, which is not the county, but Hyattsville, has been pretty low.
So RRD will continue to do its part in doing the outreach, Nancy, to get the maximum participation from the residents. But it's really a long process.
No, it is. So is there a plan? Is there some kind of plan and for that?
Yes. So we keep on repeating the message that the program is in progress. It's continuing. So we plan to do the outreach, the continuous process. As I've said, until we achieve the participation rate that we aim for that program.
Can we get a copy of whatever plan there is?
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Kevin, I did see a post on Next Door Neighbor or whatever it's called, where the bins were delivered to the Cabin Branch neighborhood and they were told to put the bins out on Monday. And this individual put her bin out on Monday and nothing was picked up.
Was it reported to
I think I forwarded you that post.
Who did you forward it to, Charles?
I think I forwarded it to you. I don't know if it went through, but I'm sure I forwarded it to you because I found it curious that this is a brand new program and first time the citizen tried to use it and it was a failure. And I don't know if they reported or not. Like I said, this was a post that was on Next Door Neighbor or Next Door, whatever that program is called.
Mm-hmm.
And again,
as soon as we get
from Cabin Branch, which is a neighborhood down off of Brown Station Road.
Yeah, because as soon as we get the complaint, we receive the complaint, we act on it right away.
If I see any more of those, instead of forwarding them to you, I'll call you or email you.
Sure, please. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Kevin, I think that's it. Thank you very much for all that information, and we'll follow up after the meeting. Dave, let's go into committee reports.
Yeah, I think some of the things that I was going to talk about, I think have already been covered by you and Kevin. I think one of our concerns when we were out at the OCF, the organics composting facility, is that there apparently is plastic contamination. And that's something that we'd like to see possibly, I don't know, if there's some type of a plan to maybe deal with that. It sounded like when we were talking with Steve Birchfield, he sounded like they were understaffed there too. And that it's a little bit difficult to extract all the plastic because of the fact they just don't have the manpower to do that. And they were handpicking some of it, but it's a problem. And they get to be a bigger problem as more families start putting in compost and possibly plastic in their bins. So that would be something that we were kind of concerned about. And I think if we got to the waste sort, maybe we could see what is actually being dropped at the facility. I want to
Kevin,
ask,
Dave, can you hold on for a second? Just to follow up on that issue around the plastic. Kevin, is there a way, are the vendors who pick up the compost material, the compost and yard waste material, are they supposed to do anything if they notice that the load is contaminated? Are they supposed to leave a notice? Are they supposed to leave the material there? What does their contract dictate that they do?
Are you talking about our haulers, the haulers?
The haulers, yes.
So, so we have we communicated with them that, like, because, for example, with the recycling stream, right? We do the tagging, the recycling stream, right? So we do the tagging.
What do you mean
But
the
for
bagging?
organic, no, we
Oh,
tag
tagging.
contaminate. Yeah, tagging, yes. So for the organics, because this program is, it's not it's pretty, I mean, it's new.
Mhm.
So we just make a reminder to our residents. I think we have that posted on our site, on our website, that, and it's also part of the outreach package to not include plastic in the, or not use non-biodegradable plastic in the organic stream. So it's just a reminder. It's just a reminder to, not to include plastic in the recycling stream. And we also communicate with our haulers, to take note of, any contaminants and report to us. So that's
Kevin,
what
we had been
doing
assured
right now.
several years ago that the hauler's contract required them to put tags on people's cans when they had plastic bags for the
Recycling.
And I believe at that time it was also for the composting, because some neighborhoods have been in since 2018 in the composting facility, in the composting plan, like our neighborhood. And then we've heard that the haulers don't have any such tags even to put up, and it's not being enforced. Can you find out if that is in their contract, that they're supposed to put the tags on?
Yeah, yes. I will, Barbara. I will check with our contract.
Because it was several, it probably was still Lee Flick who assured us that it was in the contract. And so that's a long time for them not doing it.
Yeah, and it seems like that the first line of defense in terms of dealing with the plastic is when it gets picked up. That's the best defense. I mean, there's the educating the community, which we think is really important, but being able to deal with the plastic, and frankly, we've been looking at this really closely, and there are a lot of people who are they're so unfamiliar with doing this, that what they're familiar with is putting things that smell bad in plastic bags and throwing them away. So it's a long, like you're saying, Kevin, it's a long process, but I do think that it would be helpful if the haulers, were an integral part of managing the contamination.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, if you can find that out, that would be really helpful. Okay,
Because
Dave, I'm sorry.
Like, for instance, we have a neighbor who puts his recycling in plastic bags and carries them up in that way. And I always say that's not permitted. And he said, but they pick it up. What could be the problem?
Okay. Okay, Dave, I'm sorry, go ahead.
A question going back to the earlier part of our discussion in the meeting. I just wanted to ask Kevin again, you mentioned the pipeline and that they're going to get some type of a report to us. Do you know how long it'll take for us to get that?
I don't have the exact timeline, David, but the draft has been prepared, and it's the county executive office who will be transmitting the letter to SWAC.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the latest. But again, I can check with Marlin as to when it will be, forwarded to your group.
Okay. Thank you. One other thing, and that's you mentioned the possible brainstorming that I guess your agency is doing for the EPA grant funding projects. Would it be possible to have SWAC also part of that brainstorming group or process?
Great
Yes.
idea.
Mhm. Yes, and if you can provide some ideas on what to include in the proposal, I would be happy to, present it to RRD. If you have initial ideas, please share it with me, and I will share it with the RRD.
That's good. However, one thing I'm thinking about, because I've been in a number of different groups, processes over my career, and I mean, we could give you a couple ideas, and then we don't know what happens with them. Or maybe you look at the ideas and say, well, that's a good idea, or maybe that's not such a good idea. And sometimes you need back and forth. And it seems to me that would be better if there was more of a kind of dialogue, two-way dialogue going between us and your group during this process.
I would suggest, Nancy, if you can send an email to Marlin regarding your interest to contribute ideas to the proposal. So we can have that acted on, and we can also share updates about the proposal development that we're doing for the grant. So just so it's in black and white, I mean, it's documented. It would be better if SWAC communicates to RRD by email.
Okay.
So we have that communication tracked
Okay.
and addressed.
Yep, I'll do that.
Nancy, I think that's all I have.
Okay, the other thing, David, I think at your committee meeting, there was some discussion about the possibility of knowing if there's any way that there are any kind of records of methane emission from the compost facility versus the landfill. Do you know that, Kevin, whether there's any records of any kind of methane emitted from the compost facility?
MES should have that record. I will check, Nancy,
Okay,
on the methane emission from the compost facility.
okay, thank you. Hey, now to Nyla. Congratulations. We'll have a committee report, and they did a fabulous event. So can you give us an update? That would be great.
Okay, sure. So I did a presentation on November the 30th, and it was at the Riderwood facility in Silver Spring, Maryland, which kind of bridges counties, both for Montgomery County and Prince George's County. There's been a lot of emails back and forth from October the 17th to when the presentation was done, and a lot of organizing. It was really fun to, present on behalf of SWAC all the information for the durable medical equipment facilities around the state of Maryland and where they're located. I did a follow-up email, which was huge. detailing some of the information as well, just to give it to them. And then I also made attachments that were in the English and Spanish versions for those who were interested in submitting and sending or dropping off the durable medical equipment and requesting that durable medical equipment as well. It was a very, I think, thorough presentation. I even updated it to make sure, because I put Anne Arundel County as some of the drop-off location information instead of Montgomery County, but I updated that for their convenience. They're really happy with it. I would totally do the presentation again if offered, and I haven't heard any follow-up, which is fine because they have a lot of information. It's a lot to go through. But I'm really glad that I represented the Education and Outreach Committee on behalf of the commission, and I would totally work with any other senior facility within Maryland. I'm not sure of too many popular ones. I know of Riderwood because I have a connection there with Miss Ann Riley from the Sierra Club, because I'm a Sierra Club member too, and Miss Barbara and such. But yeah, it was very thorough. There were about 10 to 15 people in the room, and we had a little bit of technical difficulties trying to get the imaging set up for the presentation, but it was a success overall. And I did extend in the follow-up email that if they have any other organizations or other senior facilities that they would like for me to present the information to, I can totally do that, or any other resources. I just know about the durable medical equipment one was such a success. I'm glad that we talked about that in our education outreach meeting back in September. So yeah, if we want to, since we meet already on the 4th Tuesday of every month, or at least try to, I can do another type of presentation or spearhead that, and then I can present that, if there's a conflict or anyone else can't meet it. But I'm sorry that I couldn't attend the mattress recycling tour because it was the same day, and it was kind of like didn't know. So, but it was fun. It was a great presentation, and I thank all the committee for their support, and Miss Barbara for coming in clutch, because she sent her pictures of the mattress facility. The mattress facility, I think, or the durable medical equipment, one of them. And I also included those in the email follow-up. So she did a big part of that. So she did the pictures of the durable medical facility that day when she went, and so I sent that to them in the email follow-up for them to keep the program and the PDFs and all that information. If they had any questions, they're able to call me or the Department of Aging Durable Medical Equipment Facility line as well.
Okay, well, that's great. Thank you. That's terrific. Thank you so much. That's great to be out. Finally, we're out in the community, people getting to know us and doing good work. Have you or the committee? I know, it's great. I was very, very excited, and I'm sorry. Well, we'll not miss the next one. But I wonder if you would be willing, or we could think about, maybe looking at some other facilities, like maybe some of the long-term care that are Medicaid focused. So we're looking at more low income. So we're looking at low income, or some of the senior centers in Prince George's County. Since you've kind of got the presentation down, it would be great to be able to sort of get out there. What do you think?
One of the big senior centers in this area is Collington.
Okay.
They have various levels of assistance. You can live in your own cottage, and then you can move gradually into assisted, and then into really heavy medical care. So maybe that's a facility that we could look at.
Okay.
I believe it's right off of Lotsford Road. It's off of 202 and Lotsford Road. It's over by the Woodmore Town Center.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Woodmore.
And it's a large senior complex. Collington.
Okay, that's great. So let's look into that, and maybe there's some kind of network of social workers that work at these facilities that we could figure out and maybe create a little bit of, or use some of the materials you've already created and send something out. But let's look for planning for that for the new year for the committee. That would be great.
Okay, thank you.
Nyla, thank you so
I'll
much.
definitely do that. You're welcome.
Okay,
Thank you.
that was great, and thank you for your leadership in that. Kenny, that reminds me that we had back, I don't know when I got on the when I had to go before the council, we talked about taking the TIEE committee to the durable medical equipment facility, and somehow we didn't. Is there any possibility of?
Yeah, that was a tough one. The
I know you guys are-
the calendar just ran out, and there's so many other competing things. But the durable medical facility tour. So I will add that to the list of things that I talked to the chair
Eric.
about, and try to, because again, like I said, we have our annual calendar meeting where we start out with the universe of things that we're going to try to do, and try to figure out when it makes sense to do it. Now, is there a preferred time of year? Does it matter when?
I don't think so. I don't think for the,
Okay.
I think that they're, whenever they're open, schedule, we gotta have to check with Ian, the guy who's the director. And it would be great for you to be part of that tour, I think. When we do it, if you could come. The other thing, Kenny, is I think, I think an incentive for the council members is either for them or their constituent person, contact liaison, is that, people in medical need who contact their offices, this is just a fabulous resource. And they would have something right at hand to be able to refer people to. And I know that one of the issues was with the facility that they've collected this incredible amount of really valuable and needed equipment, and they have not been able to sort of get it moving outward and redistribute it as fast as they've been able to collect it. Okay. So the goal is to get the stuff out to people who need it in the county.
And is there a like video version of a tour or something that we could try to share the other way as well? Because I mean, no question about it, if we could put that in front of some of these council members or all of them and get it on their radar that this resource exists, so that they automatically could refer to it when they get requests or become aware of their constituents that have a need for it.
Yeah, I'll check with Ian and ask him about that. And after the tour we had, Barbara and I were standing outside, and we saw a young woman with a child who needed a wheelchair walk in. We stood there so long, we saw her come out, and they were beaming because they had a beautiful wheelchair and a bunch of equipment, I guess, that they needed, and it's all free. So, and there's no income basis, so anybody who needs it can go, which is just makes the whole program, easy to run and really accessible. So yeah, or I don't know, Nyla, if you want to check with Ian, or I can. He's the guy who's the director.
Okay.
I can send you his contact information.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Okay. That way you have to make contact with him. Let's see, Nyla, Ian contact. Okay, I'll send you that, and you can check with him on if they have any like video materials. They have some, when we were there, they had some nice stuff, but I don't know whether they have video materials, but that would be helpful.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Fabulous. I'm sorry, go ahead.
On that, I was just saying thank you. I'll wait your email. I'm just I'm in an email right now.
What's that?
No, I'm sorry. I'm just. I'll let your email
Oh,
contact info.
I can't, you're
yeah,
garbled.
you're breaking up a little. Might be too many people with their mics open or something. I don't know. Try it
Okay,
again.
yes, a little bit. It's a little bit garbled. It's nothing. I'm awaiting your email. Just send it whenever you have this info, and then I'll contact them and I'll CC you if I can. I'm actually cleaning out my email, so you know, just
Okay.
you can
Well,
text
don't
me
miss it.
something.
Okay. All right. Well, I will send that to you very soon. So no worries. All right. Thank you, Education Outreach. That's a great report. A few other items. Because I want to end before 7:30. I've sent you all 4 fact sheets about state level legislation related to zero waste put together by the amazing Martha Ainsworth with the Sierra Club. They're very comprehensive. Sort of explaining the what, why, and how, and then details about the legislation itself. I'd like to, in January, really look at that material more and see if there's anything we want to send a letter both to the county and to the state saying we support this legislation if we do. So it'd be helpful for everybody to take a look at that. Kenny, thank you for following up with the climate action. I look forward to hearing more about that, and any documents or anything, or the person who I wrote down, Mr. Hubble, will follow up with us.
Yeah, Alex Hurdle is his name.
Oh, Hurdle. Okay, sorry.
Hirtle. And also I came across a video of the task force meeting in September. So
Okay, great.
I'll forward that to you guys too, because they had a lot of good information in there about what their plan is and schedules and such. So
Okay,
I will
terrific.
forward that to the group email.
Okay, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Okay, we have a new person who has submitted their materials to the county Office of Boards and Commissions. We're still waiting for them to take action on that. They could be in process, but as you know, not likely. Nothing's going to happen really over the holiday. So I think the office will probably be moving in that in January. So hopefully we'll hear something. I had presented that information, I think, at the last meeting. And then I just want to let people know on January 9th, the Northeast Recycling group is doing a webinar, and I've been involved in organizing these on climate change and reuse. And there's a really great lineup of people. There's 4 or 5 folks who are going to be presenting on that call. There's a fabulous project out of Phoenix. It's sort of a reuse park that they've been developing, and there's somebody from a consulting group that's done a lot of looking at climate action plans, and somebody from EPA, and I think also somebody from New York. Anyway, it's a great lineup. So it's from 1 to 3. If you can't stay the whole time, just come for part of it, but it's a Northeast Recycling Council. If you can't find the link, or you're having trouble with that, just email me and I'll find it and send it to you. Okay, any other announcements? Okay, with that, I will wish everyone a very happy and safe holiday in about a week, I guess, a little bit less. And I hope we go into the new year with a lot of energy for what we're doing. And thank you to everybody and for all your engagement and involvement. And Kenny, thanks for joining us. And look forward to going into the new year. So happy holidays, everybody, and see you soon.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
See you soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Bye.